The big moment was finally here. The results of the Defense Force exam. This was Kafka's final shot to make his dream come true. He pulled the paper from the envelope ever so slowly, and then they cut to the ceremony celebrating all the examinees that made it. It was 27 in total that became Defense Force officers. Since Kikuru had the highest scores, which was a surprise to no one, she spoke on behalf of all the other new recruits, swearing they'd all lay their lives down for the cause. Kaijus were getting more and more unpredictable. Their fortitude levels were getting higher, and they'd never heard of Kaiju being able to come back to life until now. Mina thanked Kikuru for defeating the revived Kaiju. Because of her valiant effort, there were no casualties. Kikuru felt guilty for taking credit for that because she didn't beat that powerful Kaiju. Kafka did. Speaking of Kafka, he did fail the exam, but Vice Captain Hoshida still wanted Kafka to join his platoon, not as an officer, but as a cadet for more training. Although he failed, Kafka did prioritize the mission and supported more capable examinees instead of worrying about his own kill count. His knowledge about the Kaiju and their weak points is invaluable, and on top of all that, he's hilarious. And in a grim line of work like what they do, having someone around to lighten the mood goes a long way. But that was only part of it. The main reason he decided to take Kafka under his wings was because the second a Kaiju with a fortitude level of 9.8 appeared, Kafka's vitals stopped coming in, almost as if he transformed into that Kaiju. Vice Captain Hoshida knew Kafka was linked to the situation in some kind of way, so he wants to keep Kafka real close and figure out what on earth is going on. Ichikawa, Kikuru, and Kafka went to a nearby diner where Kafka explained everything to Kikuru. He explained how he ate a Kaiju and now he can turn into one. He wondered if he told the Defense Force would they be able to cure him. Kikuru told him that not only would they not cure him, but if he was lucky enough not to be killed on the spot, they would keep him locked up and experiment on him over and over for a very long time. And since he's so strong, when they do decide to finally kill him, they'd be able to make a very powerful weapon out of his corpse. He begged her to please not tell anyone his secret, and since he saved her life, she agreed to keep his secret. But she also warned him if he turns out to be just another Kaiju that wants to harm humanity, she'd kill him herself. During the fire training exercise, we get to see just how much everyone's improved. Ichikawa went first and set a personal best, finishing the exercise in 2 minutes and 35 seconds, and his unleashed combat power was now at 18%. Furuhashi, not wanting to lose to Ichikawa, also set a personal best at 2 minutes and 15 seconds, with his unleashed combat power at 20%. And of course, he had to rub it in that he was still better out of the two. Kikuru finished at 1 minute and 16 seconds, and her unleashed combat powers was at 55%. She was leaps and bounds better than all the other new recruits. Meanwhile, Kafka finished at an abysmal 6 minutes and 38 seconds with an unleashed combat power of 1%. He was so excited he chased Kikuru around, bragging about his 1%, but the Vice Captain set him straight and let him know at this rate not only would he never become a Defense Force officer, but he'd be fired in 3 months if he didn't shape up. In the bathhouse, Furuhashi and Ichikawa fought over who had the bigger biceps. Then Kafka jumped in and showed them the muscles of a real hard-working grown-up, until he couldn't hold his stomach in anymore and showed he actually looked about 3 months pregnant. Then the ex-military officer action figure physique, Oi, came in, and the 3 scrawny bird chesters jumped in the water, hiding their non-muscular bodies, which was actually pretty funny. The guys then shared their stories of why they wanted to join the Defense Force in the first place, and for one reason or another, Mina inspired them all to join. She's their generation's superhero. When they found out Kafka and Mina were childhood friends, they forced Kafka to tell them every detail of Mina's upbringing. This episode wasn't full of action, but it was still a really important and enjoyable episode. We got to see the new recruits training hard and improving their skills. It was cool to watch them bond and get to know each other more. They'd argue on what formation would be most effective when going against a Kaiju in populated areas. A lot of rivalries developed, which is a good thing since that'll help them all continue to push their limits. The episode ended with an alarm going off, letting them all know a Kaiju had been spotted, and the Vice Captain let Kafka know not to get too close to anyone because in their line of work, anyone could die at any given time. I can't wait to see them go on their first real mission next week. I hope they all make it out of it alive. And Kafka gotta be careful how he used his Kaiju power because the Vice Captain is watching him like a hawk. Like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.